Hi preschoolers! Today we are going to learn about pollination and how, well, we're going to focus on bees, but all the little insects in our backyards help us to pollinate. And pollination is really important for all of the flowers and trees and even all the favorite fruits you eat in the summertime. They all need insects or sometimes birds or butterflies to pollinate the plants, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first we need to make ourselves a little insect like this. Does this look like a little bee, a bumblebee? Except it doesn't have wings, but that's okay. Today we're going to make sure he's got some fuzzy feet because that's really important. Okay, actually I'm going to call it a her because I did find out something. The female bees, the girl bees, are the ones who have pollen baskets on their feet. So we're using these fuzzy things that you have in your art bag, pipe cleaners or chenille stems, to kind of demonstrate what a bumblebee's feet would or legs would be like. They're very fuzzy and have little hairs, and that is what it's really like on a bee's legs, pollen pockets. Okay, so you're going to take one yellow and one black. Let's start with the yellow. We're combining a little arts and crafts with our science lesson today, which was fun for me to do. Okay, so I hope it's fun for you also. All right, you're going to take your yellow one and just kind of wind it loosely around your finger. It doesn't have to be tight, but just so that it will fit around. It's going to be kind of like a little finger puppet for us. Just be careful because there's some pokey ends in there. Okay, so that's just on my finger kind of loosely. Then I need you to take your black one, but you're going to need to leave a little bit on the end because we need to make those legs. All right, so wind that around because you know those bees, those bumblebees are usually black and yellow stripes. I know you might need a little bit of help with this because I'm struggling a little bit here too. All right, so then you have those two little legs. You're gonna kind of twist them around and bend them so they look like little feet and legs. I know this is hard to see in the video. Maybe even tomorrow on Zoom I can show you again. Okay, so there's our bumblebee. Now, if you really don't like these and you're a little bit afraid and you don't even want to make one of these, you could just make the legs and pretend that they're little butterfly legs because butterflies pollinate also. Okay, so what pollination is when, we're just gonna say bees for today, when bees go from one flower to another flower and they take the pollen with them and the pollen gets kind of mixed up, and that's what's going to help us to create new flowers and trees and fruit. Okay, so next I'm going to kind of change the camera angle because you don't need to see me anymore. You just need to see our bee and our flowers, which you also got in your little kit this week. So there we go. Okay, now we're going to have two flowers, and I gave you some powdered sugar. The powdered sugar is going to represent our pollen, but we're only going to put it on one flower so that you can see how it will go from one to the next. Okay, let me back up a little bit here. So when the bee looks for nectar, the bees like to eat nectar, they're going to fly into a flower and look for that nectar, and as they land and move around on the flower to get that nectar, what happens? That's our pretend pollen. The pollen is going to stick to their legs or their pollen baskets. And then they go looking for more nectar and they're going to land on a different flower. And you're going to see, if you tap those legs a little bit, how the pollen or powdered sugar lands in the other flower, and that is how they pollinate. Okay, I thought this was a pretty neat demonstration on how that happens. And then I've made another video, since we're talking about backyard bugs this week. I made a video bringing you into my garden that's in my backyard. Sorry about this camera angle. So come along with me into my backyard and I'll show you my garden. And I think There were at least 4 different types of bees that we're going to get to see, and they all help to pollinate. I didn't get to see any butterflies out there, but you'll see how the bees are buzzing around. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson about bees. They work really hard. Buzz, buzz.